Yo, what's up? Absolutely amazing news today because this year is the confirmation for the very soon coming update with the new map, and the new map will be Burma. Yes, since the update is called Tigers of Burma. It was highly expected to be Burma, but we already had similar situations in the past where we didn't get quite what we wanted and expected, but now this time we finally get it. Yes, and this makes it basically the third great map in a row, because I expect this to be great, absolutely fun to play and also amazing to look at. The map we received recently was Mountain Pass. That's a really good map. And before that we received Regev, which is one of the best maps in the game. So, yep, the last 6 months brought us some really good high quality maps for Enlisted, which is unusual because the 1 year before that brought us mostly bad maps. So finally we are getting the good stuff because we absolutely deserved it. So how is this new map gonna look like? First, since this is a completely new campaign, we can hope for 2, possibly even 3 different maps. Because whenever maps for an already existing campaign get released, they're usually just one map. For example, Mountain Pass belongs to the Ardennes Offensive, that's why it's just one map. Regev, although being a completely new battlefield or battle area or campaign, well, it's just one map. So yeah, but before that, whenever we received new campaigns, for example the Pacific, we got instantly 3 completely different maps. And Tunisia, I wasn't there yet playing, but I know that Tunisia also got released with a few maps and also some really great and completely different maps. So here we can hope for the best and expect a bunch of completely different maps, which would be just insanely great, because we really want the BRs of Enlisted saturated with these Burma maps. They will, obviously, as usual after a new release, the chance for the new maps to appear in your games is significantly higher than usual. And since Burma will be playable or played on all BRs, so BR 1 to 5, well, you'll be able to enjoy it anywhere, which is extremely good, obviously, for the Japanese, because the Japanese are the most starved nation in this game for maps. They only have their boring-ass old Pacific maps, of which most are ridiculously repetitive and not even that fun to play. And the Americans, well, the Americans have the problem. They get a completely different experience depending on which BR you play. Because if you play low BR, you will get really cool stuff like Tunisia, which is, as it turns out, overall actually one of the best designed campaigns in the game regarding the map selection. If you just remove the 2 worst maps, you will possibly have the most fun to play campaign in the game. And you can't do this with any other campaign. Most other campaigns have significantly more bad maps. And for high BR, well, the Americans have some fun maps, though not just only fun maps. So yeah, it's a very mixed bag. But now, with this coming into rotation, I expect people to have fun every time they get one of these Burma maps. Because not only have they all the experience that Enlisted has from the last years regarding how to design a map to make it actually playable, regarding not only bugs on the ground and surfaces, or so just getting stuck everywhere, no, but also how to design maps that are fun to play. And also, it has completely new game assets. As you can see, some of the palm trees are copy-pasted from the Pacific, but other trees are obviously from the Southeast Asian ecosystem. You see, yeah, this looks amazing. This looks unlike anything we've seen before. Very beautiful, very nicely designed. Well, this also looks a little bit like a tree from the Moscow autumn maps, but well, it could be a modified version to make it look more like Asian trees. So yeah, overall really good looking. And yeah, like here's another problem, by the way, for Americans. If you want to enjoy, for example, Tunisia maps and not be playing basically only Normandy and Pacific, you really need to play low BR. This traps you hard. But now, with Burma in the mix on all BRs, you're gonna have a much better selection. And especially for high BR Americans, if you, for example, don't like playing some of the Normandy maps, or if you don't like playing Pacific, yeah, this will be much better now, since people will have access to these maps instead of many Pacific maps they would have played instead. So it is a really good change regarding actually getting into fun maps. Now let's quickly analyze how are these maps actually built. First of all, we get some cities, some urban areas, though not the European way, but obviously the Burma way. And then we also have some periphery of these cities, meaning fields, forests, riversides, and flooded areas. Yes, because around 1/4 to 1/3 of the year in Burma you've got the monsoon season. You get insane rains, and if you read reports from any British soldiers, you will hear that everything is mud. Literally everything is mud. You don't have any normal ground. I don't see any rain effects here though. That is strange, but the description here talks about flooded fields outside of the little villages. So yeah, this is already quite cool. And yeah, it looks basically like a mix of Tunisia and Pacific. Yeah, it looks like the architecture reminds a little bit of Tunisia. Obviously, it's completely different, but still. And the vegetation looks quite reminds of the Pacific. Though I would say it's a straight upgrade to the Pacific map, since what does the Pacific lack the most? Yes, interesting buildings and architecture. Here we have literally the most coolest, most flavorful architecture you can imagine. And also stone buildings, very important, so you don't get shot through all little holes when you try to sit somewhere or build something, as usually happens in the Pacific. Also much less dependent on planes, because in the Pacific usually there's not much protection from planes, and here you actually have safe areas. Also, it doesn't look like tanks would be too effective here. At least not tanks trying to camp in the gray zone, because these maps look quite flat. And quite flat means, especially in combination with stone buildings, that there's no way to place a tank that he can even cover 20% of a map. Absolutely no way. So if someone wants to graze on camp, this looks like it's impossible here, which greatly benefits interactive and fun, also skillful tank playing, because obviously it's much more skillful to rush around the combat area and being literally meleeed with TNT packs by enemies than it takes to be sitting in the gray zone. Also very good because it also benefits mobile, lighter tanks instead of slow, heavy tanks. So yeah, I expect something like, the Japanese tanks will be really good here. Because what can Americans play? They can play the new Super Pershing or the Heavy Jumbo. Problem with both is they're big, they're quite slow, and they won't fit in everywhere here, maybe in some areas. But the Japanese tanks, well, they're quite fast, they're quite small, and they can drive around everywhere and blow everything up. So this is going to be really cool, this is going to be really fun. And yeah, regarding these city buildings, we have here quite a big road, alright. And we have this really cool monument, or basically, not a monument, classical structure, what's it called? It's like a sacred palace. Yeah, really good, really cool looking. Also looks massive, like you couldn't destroy it, so I'm quite sure this is an objective. Though you want to make sure to close the doors with tank blockers, so no tank starts shelling the inside, because then everything's going to be dying. And then we have these Buddhist temples, also insanely beautiful, absolutely nice. Yeah, much more interesting than to look at the very lazy-ass redundant stuff in the Pacific. Yeah, and of course these areas, these flooded fields. Now, I'd much rather fight in flooded fields with little hilly areas and some huts and trees and bushes than in the 1000th trench system, because we have trench systems everywhere, especially in the Pacific once again, and it just gets boring. You get trench system in the Moscow maps, alright. You get trench systems in they're at least actually fun, but then you also get basically the same copy-pasted trench systems in the Normandy where it gets boring. Also in the Mountain Pass map, the trench systems are very boring to play. and especially in Berlin when you have trash systems there. But yeah, this is actually really cool and exciting. All right, let me know what you think. This looks like an absolute win, and I hope this is going to be released very soon, and I hope without 1,000 years of test server waiting. I hope it just gets released next week. Theoretically, yeah, it would need to be released either on, well, Tuesday or Wednesday, because it won't be released on Friday due to, obviously, if there are bugs that the Gopniks are too lazy to work on Saturdays. So yeah, we need to hope for a quick release until Wednesday. Otherwise, we would have to wait one more week. But yeah, okay. So let me know what you think and what your speculations are, and whether you think we're gonna get 2 or 3 maps or just 1. I'm quite sure this is at least 2 maps, because some of these areas look so big and so different that they can't be possibly on the same one map. So yeah, until soon, goodbye.